Forza Motorsport has been absent for about 5 years, and Turn 10 have been very busy working on the next generation debut of the franchise. We've got new information here. Let's get into it. What is happening, guys? Dealer here, back again with yet another video talking about Forza Motorsport, one of the best racing games of all time, one of the best racing franchises of all time, in my opinion. Like I said, it's been a while since we've had a new motorsport title. 2017 was the last time, and I suspect, based on a lot of these comments, that 2022, 5 years later, will be the next time we get to play a new motorsport title. That and much more in one of the latest interviews from the Turn 10 team. Microsoft, Xbox, they are all confirming great things here. Not only that, but they talk about their new physics system, their new simulation, what they've learned from the past, and what you can expect in Forza Motorsport 2022. I've got the full interview and more here for you, so leave a like for the support of the franchise, or if you just enjoyed this video, and let's get into it. Let's start with Dan Greenwald, who does have a bit of insight regarding how they're going to support this title, and this is massive because, quite frankly, they should have done this a long time ago.
Motorsport as well, it's being developed in a new way. The community's voice is inherent. It's integrated into everything we do, and we're rethinking so much of the game to stay true to that heart of competition while doing new ideas that push the genre forward.
Now, that's something I wanted to throw in here for everyone that was curious as to how they are going to, at least in part, support the next Forza Motorsport title. This is something I think they should have done quite some time ago. I think they should really focus on what the community are saying about car packs, what the community are saying about how people are cutting the track or getting by with certain things, car balancing, and more. But again, hey, we got some more information here for you. Let's get back into it.
And here he is to catch us up on the latest in Forza Motorsport.
Hey, Leah, how you doing?
It was great to have you back. It's been a little while, and last time you were here, we talked about the team's approach to authentic multiplayer and how players can expect to sort of build and refine their racing skills together.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we got a number of people wondering about what to expect with the car suspension in the game, and we wanted to share a little bit about what we've been working on. We've talked a lot about the tire model already, and so I think we can move on to some of the several improvements in our suspension model that I'm hoping that we can cover a number of those things today. We've been working on making all of our simulation elements as realistic as possible, and this work has made the car dynamics much more in line. Dynamic force propagation, roll centers, anti-dive, anti-squat. Some of these things are things that I learned about in this kind of knowledge journey in the last year or so. It just goes to show how much we are working to create an authentic suspension system and really have the cars just feel amazing.
Can you give an example of a change the team is working on to that system that we can actually feel?
In Forza Motorsport 7, when we were updating the game, we had several team members and drift partners discuss a lot of the things they wanted to see, specifically around drift suspension, setting up cars, and that sort of thing. Had a lot of similar feedback from our players. In particular, it's the whole anti-dive, anti-squat features that were basically missing at that time. So we updated the game back then based off all this feedback. And of course, drifting feels that much better. Cars can be set up in line with our drift partners' expectations and that sort of thing. It really goes to show like what, great feedback and great partnerships can help us uncover, especially when we're really focused on improving certain parts of the game.
Now, so far, so good, but it's what he says next that really has me excited. Opening a Pandora's box of information, new abilities to tune the way the studios see fit through more accurate CAD modeling, tire data, and suspension methods. This is the stuff we live for as people who really like physics in racing games, and as good as Motorsport already was, it seemingly is getting even better.
That really opened a Pandora's box, if you will, to a much deeper look at all of our suspension modeling and where some of our other features could be.
Sounds like a lot of complex physics, a lot of high complexity some things you got to throw into the game there, and a lot of things to simulate. So how do you go about that? Where'd you start?
Yeah, it starts with this deep knowledge that we have on the team from our subject matter experts, So for instance, I think I'd mentioned dynamic force propagation at the top of this, and it's basically how forces travel from the actual tire and the contact of the tire through the suspension linkage, the frame of the car, it's all now super realistic. We had a ton of improvements just in that alone. And one of the things that came out of that is, all of the CAD modeling that we get from our automotive partners, it's now just much more faithfully expressed with all these updates. So, however, it's not just this accuracy that's important to us. It's really just that the cars just behave more realistically and they just feel awesome to drive now.
Is that going to affect the driving experience as we are on the roads?
Absolutely. Well, that's the most important thing, right? Like all of this stuff underneath the hood, that's great. I'm super proud of all the work that the team's been doing here. It's really in this pursuit of an ultra realistic simulation underneath the hood. So our car dynamics are just really, really faithfully reproduced and expressed. Once again, this is all just about making our cars that much easier for all of our players to drive. Our game experience driving the car, it's just much more in line with kind of what you're expecting to feel and how the car should behave. We've made a lot of strides this last year. We just kind of talked a little bit about the suspension stuff and how our partner feedback as well as our player feedback kind of impacted some of our development here.
Now, I'm super excited for the way these cars could potentially perform, feel, and grip around high and low speed corners in Forza Motorsport 2022. If you watched my last Forza Motorsport video, which over 500,000 of you did, by the way, you also know that they are working on air pressure, the way it affects your tire temperature, your tire pressure, even the way that air density affects your horsepower on different tracks, which is absolutely incredible to me. They've been iterating on a lot of these different things over the past couple decades, and hey, true simulation is never done. This interview goes to prove that. They are constantly learning, and even though they've won several awards for some of the best handling in racing games, etc., they are always looking to improve. They're using that CAD data and multiple different sets of partner data to more accurately represent a true racing feel. It definitely seems like they are trying to improve their physics model and their testing methodology, and they even go into detail on when you'll hear more about Forza Motorsport 2022.
But the team and I are really looking forward to this next year where we're going to get to share a lot more about the larger game we've been building. So can't wait to see you all in 22. And Lee, I hope you have a great holiday season, and chat also. See you then.
Yeah, so it's pretty obvious. The game is coming out in 2022. Can't wait to see you all then, and you'll hear a lot more about the title. And I cannot wait, especially after hearing it is apparently a much different experience than the one we are used to. Yes, that's right. My previous video, I talked about how Turn 10 were internally playtesting this a year ago, and they were talking about how dramatically different it was from the previous game. On top of that, I had heard that they are changing up the motorsport formula, somehow integrating some kind of open world element into this game, or at least some kind of connected experience into this game, which would make sense seeing as it is, 2021, 2022, every game's doing it. It's also going to be in Game Pass day and date and be highly community powered, community driven, and hopefully that goes to every single piece of feedback, from the cars we want in the car packs to how we want track cutters dealt with, and much more. They have integrated a new penalty system into Forza Motorsport 7, and apparently there's multiple different new things that will debut in the next Motorsport game, and some of that has trickled from these Horizon games, like Forza Horizon 5, that has introduced multiple different upgrades, and I expect to see some of these upgrades from the Horizon series, like track width, additional body kits, and more, appear in the new Motorsport title, on top of additional tire compounds that are super soft, medium compound perhaps, kind of like Forza Motorsport 2, and they're probably even going to bring back some different variants of tracks like Laguna Seca, and much, much more. One thing I really hope is that they have more tracks, or as many tracks as they've ever had, with at least 500 or 600 cars, because hey, I'm tired of restarting every single time they launch a new motorsport. They've got to retool for the future. We go back to 200 cars. By the end, the retooling again. We're up to 700 where we were with Forza Motorsport 4, and then we got to start over again. I'd like to get to a place where we're at, 5 or 6, 700. Then we start working our way up. And I know that's not easy, and maybe it's a lot to ask for, but as a fan, that's what I'd like to see. I've said this in other videos as well. I would love to see club garages, team garages make a return, especially being a more community-driven title. On Game Pass, you are going to have a lot of people in there wanting tunes from their friends, and if you got a racing team, gone are the days of changing your gamer tag to basically represent a racing team in Forza. You want to be able to do this stuff all in-game, just like Forza Motorsport 4, the most feature-packed Forza of all time, and be able to have that team garage that everyone can run and update their tunes without taking everything down and re-uploading, maybe be able to update tunes in real time and have that usage count apply, but with ways to update the team and what you've done differently to the tune and really build that feature out. Build all that stuff out. If you want a lot of support there, you're going to want support from the tuners, and those guys would really appreciate it. I, as a tuner, would really appreciate it. But hey, I'll link my other Forza Motorsport video down below. You can get even more detail from that. And let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Forza Motorsport 2022 is going to be one of the biggest racing games of all time when it hits, probably hitting millions and millions and millions of players in the first week or so of release because of things like Game Pass, and because of those services, you're going to see record activity with a ton of user-generated content, and I can't wait to see what they do with this. I also covered their new track builder that does enable them to build bigger, better, more detailed tracks quicker than ever in this new motorsport title. Again, I will link this stuff down below. And hey, if you ended up liking this video, maybe hit the like button, tell a buddy or two, and subscribe to the channel. We do have new Xbox related content all the time, and I really, really appreciate the hell out of every single one of you that goes out of your way to spend some of your time here. Once more, I'm Dealer. Check the links down below. Shout out to all the patrons, all the channel members. You guys power the content. And to everyone that hits the button, if you're watching this, thank you. I'm Dealer. I'm out.